Hey, 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 Fit Mama. Jen Oliver here, your host of the Fit Mama podcast. This is the work in to your workout. Hey, Fit Mama. Welcome to this episode. Today we're talking about manifesting. And if you aren't familiar with what that is, it's really about seeing in your life and co-creating in your life what you want to happen. And so I want to give you the perspective here to start that, I talk to a lot of fit mamas and I talk to a lot of women on the phone. I talk to a lot of people who I help through my coaching, and the one-on-one work that I do when I get on the phone with someone and I ask them personally, what is it that you want? If anything was possible, what would your ideal life look like? And the interesting thing is that for the most part, people don't know. They don't always say, I don't know. But if they do say, I don't know, I have them take a moment, take a deep breath, and ponder, if anything was possible, what would your life look like? What would be different? What would there be more of? What would there be less of? What would you have an abundance of? Time, energy, passion. What would your life look like if anything were possible? And I love the topic of manifesting, which is starting to see in your life those things that you wish for, want, and desire. And it goes back for me many, many years. It was probably almost, I'd say 12 or 13 years ago now that I started reading books like authors like Wayne Dyer, who, if you've read The Love Fit Mama Way, you've heard me quote him and talk about him. He's one of the big ones that I've followed for years and years and years. And he brought me towards people like Eckhart Tolle. And somehow I stumbled upon some spiritual texts related to manifesting, and then also some very practical things on having a life that you want. For example, through positive psychology and the research that I did doing my master's degree on willpower and self-control, and how positive emotion relates to actually having the willpower to get things done, to follow through on the things that you want. Because often fit mamas, if they do get a picture of what it is that they want, all they see in their life is how things are different from what they want, and how things are worse, and how things aren't the way they want, and people around them aren't acting the way they want. And if this has ever happened to you, it's happened to me. We all go there where things just look not good, right? They look bad. They just aren't what you imagine them to be. You never thought you'd be in this predicament. Maybe you never thought you'd be in this debt. Maybe you never thought you'd have an ill family member or financial problems or whatever the things are that you might be feeling. It feels out of your control. And I talk about control all the time, you know that. But today we're going to really talk about starting to see things in your life the way you want them, and to see more of the things you want showing up in your life. Because when we're on a quest to have an enjoyable life, well, it falls short when we're constantly focusing on the things that aren't right. And a lot of our misery as moms, as women, as humans, comes from wanting things to be a certain way and not accepting things for the way they are. And so there's this fine line with loving what is and desiring more for yourself. And neither one is bad, and both are needed. And it's okay to want more and want things in your life, but in fact, inherently using the word want creates a separation between you and this desired outcome. So I use the example of being a runner. I talk to fit moms all the time and they say, I want to be a runner. Okay, well, you want to be a runner, so tell yourself you're a runner. Say, I am a runner. And they say, I am a runner. And they go, but I can't run. Well, yes, you can run. Have you ever run? Yes. Well, I can only run, up to the telephone pole. Okay. So then walk, and then until you can run again, pick it up and run as far as you can, and then walk as far as you can until you need to catch your breath, and then run again, and repeat, and then repeat the words, I am a runner, not I want to be a runner, because that creates separation. If you want to be a runner, it equals currently in this moment, you are not a runner, correct? You see how that happens? So if it's, I want my kids to do this, well, if you want your kids to do this, they're currently not doing this. So you have to create not only different language, but different behaviors, different responses, and a different environment so that something different happens. And one of the authors that I've really been into these days, and if you're into following him, his name is Dr. Joe Dispenza, and he talks a lot about manifesting and creating a new reality. And it's not about ditching the one that you're in, and he really talks about this, as well. And it's not about hating the life you have. It's actually about seeing how you created this life. And now, through realizing you can create a different one, the world is your oyster. And I really subscribe to this way of thinking because I've always been of the mind that we have a hand in creating what our reality is. And for me, I always look back on, where did I pick these things up? Is this something innate, or did I learn this? But one of my greatest teachings and teachers has always been my own body. And through my Fit Mama musings and my posts and my, book and all the rest, that I am very much into the physical body and how it functions. And to create a new reality, you actually have to be nobody. Nobody. And Dr. Joe talks a lot about this, about being nobody, no thing, no time, no space, no place, whatever, because you want to be none of these things, because you want to enter into this place of the infinite where anything is possible. And for the better part of over 10 years now, I've been meditating very regularly. And as you know from reading my book or knowing that I went on a 10-day Vipassana meditation retreat where we were silently meditating for 10 days straight. So I've gotten a lot of opportunity to be in this quantum space when you are nobody. And what I mean by that for you as you go through your day, when are you not yourself? When are you not you? When do you not subscribe to the roles you play in your life? Being mom, being wife, being employee or employer, being on call as a parent for your children, or whatever the case may be, sister, mother, etc. When are you not those things, or trying to reckon them in some way, or be in them, or pay the bills, or do whatever it is you need to do? When are you not your body and the thoughts you feel about eating or not eating, or what you did eat, or what you should eat, or what you shouldn't eat, or what you could do, or what you have to do? We spend so much time there, and we're never in this place of nobody. Because when we're nobody, we don't cling to things like, my husband owes me because he leaves the towels on the floor all the time, or my body should be doing these things, or I should feel better, or I should change or do these things. If you're in that space of I should or I could, or then you're in the place of body, of matter, as Dr. Joe would say. And Dr. Joe talks in terms of quantum physics. So it's really next level stuff. And if you're into that, like I am, I nerd out on this stuff. Like I put it on my Bluetooth speaker in my shower while I'm showering and shaving and putting on my luxurious hair mask, which I recommend to everyone. It feels so good. I'm listening to Dr. Joe talk about how anything is possible. But the first thing that must be done is actually breaking the habit of being yourself. And I love that. He has a book titled Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. And this is brilliant. I mean, you got to read the stuff, but if you don't, just listen to my podcast, because I am in the mode of breaking the habit of being myself, of forgetting that I used to have a back injury, of forgetting that I had hard days when my kids were young and I would yell at them, or I would get crazy, or I would not take care of myself and completely grind myself into the ground and make myself sick. Those don't dictate my future. Those are part of the journey. And I've learned from them. And I've now been able to realize that I can create a future where I feel energy, thriving, positivity, and all of the things that I want to feel. Because so often we look around ourselves and we feel jealousy or competition or anger and resentment. And these are feelings we don't think we should be feeling, or feelings we don't want to feel. So we stuff them down. We don't investigate them. We don't ask, why am I jealous? Or why do I jump down people's throats all the time? Why do I say this always? I had this story playing in my head, and I share this sometimes with clients, and I'll share this with you today, Fit Mama. I used to have this image of I'm not supported. And it's funny how this has become a big theme in my life, all the way down to my back injury, which I finally gave myself at the age of 33, when I truly felt the absolute I am not supported in the physical way, when I was really in a lot of pain. And I felt, oh my God, I can't even support myself with my back. I can't bend. I can't. So it brought up a whole other can of worms. And these experiences and these things that come up in our lives are actually manifestations in a way, because we create them, but also it's about calling in things into our lives, not that we always want, but that we need to learn along the way. And I know I wouldn't be the person I am today if I didn't hurt my back 4 years ago, almost 4 years ago to the date. It was when I hurt my back. And it was one of those moments where I was reaching, grasping for things outside myself. And I just posted this on Instagram. Go to my Instagram and see at Love Jen Oliver, where I posted this idea that if you are looking outside yourself, you're looking in the wrong place, right? We need to look in the mirror. For exactly the quote, it says, if you're searching for one person that will change your life, take a look in the mirror. And I mean, I say this knowing I personally know I can help you. So if you reach out to me, I know I can help you. But other than me, you needn't grasp outside yourself or reach or ask other people's opinion or get more help. What actually is needed is you to start switching things from within, is you to start seeing things from a place of taking responsibility instead of placing blame, being your own hero. Because we teach people how to treat us. And we've taught the people around us to treat us this way, to expect these things, to do these things and say these things, because we've become this person that we thought they wanted us to be, or whatever the case is. And so we can spend our whole life being angry at our parents or our grandparents or whatever journey we went on that wronged us, or we can make a choice to choose every day to feel different, to be a different person than that person who always had those things happen to them, right? And I said this the other day on a radio show, my radio show I do on AM 800 with Kara Rowe, the TKO show. You can find it on my blog. And Kara and I talked about this idea that we worry and we want things not to be a certain way, but then things actually become that way because we worry and because that's top of mind. And when we let go of that control of how things should be, we can imagine how things could be. And it's so easy to go down this repetitive thought pattern of, oh, woe is me, this always happens. We were saying this in the radio show, this always happens. And if you're using those words, always, if you're oh, this always happens to me, or I always do this. He always does this to me. She always looks at this way. I used to have this story in my head about I'm not supported. I don't have anyone to support me. Even when I was married to my husband, I thought, oh, he doesn't really fully support me. He probably thinks I'm this or that. He probably thinks this is crazy. This is stuff I was making up in my own head based on the fact that I felt like at any time the rug could be pulled out from under me because I saw it happen to people around me, because I knew that this had happened to me in the past. You can't rely on anyone. You can't rely on anything. Everything could look different in a year from now. And I started creating these protections around myself, these justifications for why I was doing certain things. And we all have these tendencies. We all have these personality traits and these ways that we do things because of things that happened to us, or times we were wronged, or things that we thought didn't work the way that we wanted to. And so we can think back in all these times that we're wrong, or we can go back in our past over and over. But what I'm about at Fit Mama, and it's not that we don't talk about the past, but what I'm really about is you creating a new future, because the future is not here yet. And in the quantum field, which is no space, no time, no body, no thing, anything is possible. And when you marry these two concepts of setting clear intentions, making no excuses, and creating that which you want to see because you embody it, not because you use the words I want, right? Remembering you embody it, which means you do the behavior. If you want to say, I want to be a runner, you'll want that all your life. But if you use the words I am a runner, well, you get up that morning and you put on your shoes and you get out the door. Even if you walk 98% of the time, you're a runner. Because you ran a little bit, you got out the door, and the next day, it's going to be a heck of a lot easier. And if you skip a day and have rest, it's going to even be easier and better for your body, right? So remembering you can create something new. And Dr. Wayne Dyer, who I opened up with talking about, he used to say, imagine a boat. You're driving in a boat. You're going forward. Your life is the boat. You are partly the driver. God is also the driver, but you are going in a direction and you have some control. And he's very clear on the idea that what you see going forward is not determined by the wake that is left behind the boat. When you look behind and all that water is getting pushed up by the motor and it's creating these waves behind the boat? Yeah, beautiful. But it doesn't drive the boat. I mean, the motor drives the boat, but the wake, what's left behind? The motor is you, your life, right? The motor is part of the boat. But the wake that's left behind, the waves that you leave in the past are left there. You drive the boat. You and this co-creator in this universe, whatever you call it, Allah, God, Jesus, whatever, non-God, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you realize you're part of it. And what you do and what you choose to think even every single day adds to it. It adds to it because every single thought and feeling has a vibrational frequency in space. And, it comes back to that quantum that I don't want to get too deep into because it's physics and I like physics, but I was sharing this on my Instagram as well. I loved math too before I took it in university and then I almost failed. So I also did not take physics in university. So that was just a smart choice. But quantum physics is the infinite possibility. And that's enough for me. I can read about it. I can start to understand it. But what I need and what you need, if I may say, and you may agree or may not agree, which is okay. And it's fine either way. But I know for me, when I was stuck in a place of wanting and not seeing it happen in my life, was actually getting into the field where I felt the feelings that it already happened. And much like I talk about saying thank you for things that haven't yet happened, as I talk about in my TEDx talk, How to Love Yourself to the Core, it's about thanking and seeing what hasn't happened yet. Because that's what we do when we create anxieties or worries, right? We go, oh, imagine this. Imagine I went there and this happened. Imagine he said this to me or she made fun of me. Imagine that. And then that happens or doesn't happen. But we spend all this mental energy and space in this worry. Instead, if we spend more time imagining the great things that could happen, imagine so-and-so called me up to be interviewed on his show. Imagine so-and-so read my book and told me it changed their life. Imagine my children came home from school and told me how fantastic they loved reading or whatever. Imagine I felt energized every morning when I wake up. Wow. And so while I'm sitting in my meditation or walking, I've started doing walking meditations, which I love, I'm embodying the feelings as if it already happened. Because our bodies create the physical feelings that our mind tells them to. So if we're worrying all day about not paying our bills or our kids or whatever the case is, well, you know what? We're in a very negative headspace, a very low frequency, and we're creating more of not being able to pay our bills. And it doesn't make sense. Even if we say in our heads, I want to be able to pay my bills, or I want things to look like this, they won't, because you're worrying that they don't look like that. So get that out of your head, because you want to make sure you don't allow any thought or feeling that you don't want to feel through. Now, the caveat with this, of course, is feeling your feelings. Right? Not saying, oh, I don't want to feel sad, so I'm just going to ignore this feeling of sadness. No, it's processing the feelings, and this is very important. And then also realizing where feelings might be connected to maybe it's part of your cycle. What week are you in your cycle? And why are you feeling this way? Because hormones have a large, we know, we had babies, impact on our bodies. We know they have a large impact on our feelings. We know they have a large impact on our day-to-day moods and how things look and how things turn out and our energy levels and everything else, which is why I'm so excited to introduce the women of Zesty Ginger on next week's podcast. They are, so awesome. And I really think you're going to enjoy them. So they talk a lot about hormones and harnessing our bodies in a way through love, through supporting them, through creating a body that we love. And by nurturing it and treating it really well with following the Fit Mama Foundations and following the 7 pillars of the Fit Mama Foundation specifically, you know you're checking those boxes. And it's not about conforming, but it's about creating that new reality where what happened before when you used to skip the gym doesn't happen anymore, because what happened before doesn't drive this boat. This boat is driven by the knowledge that anything is possible. Anything is achievable. Anything that you aspire to. If you create action steps, this is where action becomes the key. And when I talk about manifesting, I know for a fact that most people are manifesting the negative scenarios that they're spending their times in. They're worrying about this or that or him or her. They're worrying. And when you start to create space to meditate, you're able to manifest new things by creating those feelings. And you do this through the heart coherence methods that I teach in the Love Fit Mama Way in the book. And if you haven't read that, and if you're waiting for it to be on audiobook, you are excited, I know, because it is going to be released on audiobook in September. Yes, so I can't wait to share that with you. So really important to remember, if you haven't read that yet, it's okay. But you want to create space in your day. Create time and space for no time and no space, where you have no responsibilities. So I created myself my little hot room. I call it my hot room. It's basically a big closet. I have a heater in there and a nice little Himalayan salt rock lamp. And I sometimes just shut the lights out for no sensory and I meditate in there. And I create this no mind, no space type of thing. Because in that space, anything is possible. And I don't have to be that person who says these things to please people or oblige to others or do the right thing in other people's minds. In that space, I create what I wish to be my life. And I feel the feelings I feel when my children feel happy and healthy, when they're vibrant and creative. I feel how it feels when I'm vibrant and creative. When I wake up in the morning when my alarm doesn't go off and I pop out of bed at 5 a.m. I've stopped setting an alarm now and I've started just waking up early some days. It all depends on how I treat myself. And when I oblige to others, I'm not manifesting the life I imagine for myself, where I get all the things done that I want to do, not for everyone else to pull upon me, but for me to then be able to add to the lives of those around me. Because what I want more than anything in this world, I realized, because I've really been meditating on this and asking myself, what do I want? I want to leave an impact. And while being here, make an impact. So to leave here with an impact, i.e. when I die, like I thought about it really, hey, when I'm at my own funeral or someone else is at my funeral and I have a funeral, what do I want to have achieved, be, believe, or whatever at that point? And, coming to terms with death is one of those really interesting things that I don't know that I can talk to per se, but I also could in some ways. But one of the things I subscribe to with that is this Zen Buddhist philosophy that is die before you die. And it really is about coming to terms with death because it's inevitable. So we can't deny it. So how would it be if you died today? And facing the reality that could be. And of course, not dwelling on that or manifesting that, but realizing that if you want to manifest a life worth living, a life worth talking about and telling their grandchildren about after you're gone, how do you want to live? How do you want your day-to-day to look? How can you positively impact those around you? And I talk about impact. It's not about impact on a global scale. While I would love that to help people feel better about themselves and love their bodies and love their lives around the globe, yes. But until then, the most important people to me, other than you, Fit Mama, my tribe, my love, my family, my fit fam around the world, it's actually my family, my kids, my husband, my mom, my dad, whomever I'm closest to. And whatever that family or closest people looks like to you, because it looks like many different things for many different people, what it is you and your relationship with you, yourself, and not blaming those closest to you for holding you back. Oh, I can't work out because I have kids, or my husband doesn't do this for me, so I have to do this. It's leaving all that behind and creating the new, the you, the legacy, the future that is the now every single day, living and being that aspirational self. And so we're not always inspired and motivated to do that which is going to leave our best legacy, right? It always sounds so, oh, whoa, whoa, right? Oh, hoity-toity. And my sister, I love my little sister, Al. She just laughs at me all the time. And, it's been one of my greatest teachers. And I talk about her in the book as well, but she's just so funny because she laughs at me and she's like, Jen, you're just not like other people, right? Nobody thinks that way. Nobody feels that way. Nobody is as keen as you, right? You're just too keen. Nobody thinks that way. Nobody's going to do these things. Stop it. Stop. But she also, on the other hand, tells me how endearing it is and how nice it is to have someone that is so keen to strive towards, to want to be like, and to ask for help from, to get support from, and to know that they're always keen and they want the best for you. And that's what she sees in me. And I appreciate that, is that I want the best for you. And I know, Fit Mama, that it's possible for you. I know anything that you truly desire in your heart for those around you or for yourself is possible. I know it. I've seen it. And we don't have to go into all the testimonials that all the manifestors around the world have. But if you start searching manifesting or looking into it or talking about it or asking about it or doing it, you will see that you are a master manifester because you've created what you have already. So to create something bigger, better, different, no judgment, but to create what you want, it starts with you feeling it. I talk a lot about visualization, right? I talked a lot about this in the Fit Mama podcast and in the book, but it's about feeling it. It goes three-dimensional, right? It's not just visualizing as you might think it's eyes. This is visualization in the psychology sense, in the full body sense. I used to learn about visualization and teach visualization to athletes. And it is not just imagining yourself skiing down a hill or playing basketball, taking your free throw shot. It is actually about you feeling the feeling of standing there, bouncing that ball and taking the free throw shot. When the gym is full and you're nervous AF, that's the time that you want to have felt that already, to be the person who has sunk those shots in that moment already. And when you can see the future as you want it and act as if it's already happened and thank God or the universe or whomever you look to for it already, as if it's already happened, that's how you get where you get. And that's what I do. And that's what I did. And people ask me, how did you write a book? Where did you even start? And I said I was going to do it. That's a big step. I put down the money to work with the coaches to help me figure out how the heck you write a book. I put down the money to work with a publisher to help get my book out there, because how do you get your book out there? I booked a hotel, well, actually it was an Airbnb for myself to go and write the book, that I was alone and had space and created the space. And I meditated on being in that space. I imagined myself taking breaks, walking along the beach, coming back, then being creative and writing some more and just filling in the gaps and living through the experience of sharing what I was meant to share in this lifetime that I have, which is but a blink of an eye. I hope it's longer and maybe a bunch of blinks, but we can never, ever know. So start imagining what you want and then stop using the word want. And start using the words I am. I am. I am an author, was what I told myself. I am a global speaker. I am a top podcast. And all these things are manifesting. And they happen, and they're already happening. They're happening without me doing something every day. But I'm doing the things every day that need to make sure to get done to make that happen. So we're going to talk about this some more in a future podcast. But for now, that is Manifesting 101 a la Fit Mama. Thank you for being here. I wish you the most beautiful day that you've ever had, because in the eyes of and the words of Rent, there is no day but today. Namaste.